All right, let's start by creating the background here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. File New. This is a standard video resolution. If you go under Presets to film and video, you see NTSC DV. That is a standard definition video file format, 720 by pixels, with a pixel aspect ratio of 0.91. This is a resolution where you do not have square pixels, but the image is kind of squeezed into a 4:3 aspect ratio, even though there are more pixels horizontally than a 4:3 aspect ratio would normally have. I do not want a background, or rather, I'm going to create a background, but we want to work with a transparent background so that all the layers are floating layers and not locked like a standard background layer is. The warning about the pixel aspect ratio. Go ahead and zoom into 100% here. It should still fit. You see the guides that are created when you select a video preset for your safe action areas and safe title areas. All right, layer 1. This is going to be our background. Not a Photoshop background, but a video background. So I'll name it in a sort of appropriate way. Now the idea here is that the background is going to be scrolling off to the left, which means there has to be more background off screen to come on screen. So we're going to create a background that is twice as wide as our screen is currently. Now I'm going to start with a gradient just to create a basic tone. Here you see the foreground background gradients. Got kind of a dark gray to white. Now, because I want the left edge and the right edge to match, I'm going to constrain the background tool holding down the Shift key so that it is perfectly level horizontal gradient. That's the opposite direction from what I wanted, so I'm going to do it again, the opposite direction. Creating a white ground plane, basically, and a transition to a gray area that is going to be our distance. Okay, now to add some texture to this, there needs to be some sort of texture, some content in the background. Otherwise, it won't look like it's moving at all. It'll just look like a constant background, even if this layer is moving. So I'm going to take the brush, pick a brush that will allow me to quickly create something here. That should do. I'm going to, let me see, with dark gray, we don't see anything up here, so I'm going to select black and put in some texture. Now I'm only putting this texture in the center of the screen. I'm avoiding the edges because anything that goes off the edge is going to be cropped. And when we try to do the wraparound, there will be an edge there, a seam that will be visible. So here I'm just staying in the center. Now the trick to creating a seamless background is to go into Filters, go to Other, and select Offset. Now my screen is 720 wide, so I'm going to select a 360 offset here. And what you see is the edges of the screen wrap around so that they're coming together here in the center. And what we drew in the center is now wrapping around the sides. Exactly what I want. Now I can just take this brush, add some texture in the center, and we have a texture going all the way across screen seamlessly. If I run the filter again, and if I select the offset here at the top, I'll just do the same filter we did before, and you see that there's no seam here in the center. So that's perfectly acceptable for what we want. Now I'm going to add another texture for the ground here. Let me select another brush. I'll put that grass in that we saw before. Again, I'm just working in the center of the screen. Then when I use the offset filter, we see the edges, and I fill in that gap. Run the offset filter again, and you see there is no seam here. So we have a perfectly seamless background. Now, the idea here is that during the animation, this is going to be moving off to the side, and there needs to be more background coming on. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make a copy of this. The easiest way is to hold down the Alt key and using the Move tool. See, when I hold down Alt, I get the double kind of arrowhead, and I move it over. In the layers, you see I now have 2 layers, and with the snap on, you see that under View, I have snap, and snap to layers is on. So that is what allows me to perfectly align these 2 layers together. And you see that they join together, no seam, they're perfect. Once I've done that, I can merge that down. Control E on the PC or Command E on the Macintosh allows me to create a single layer to work with. Now I'm going to start with this layer all the way over flush to the left side of the screen. And this is set up for animation.